back to the channel. Today I've got a shoe review on this Adidas Adios Pro 3. Great shoe, and I've been looking forward to doing this review for a while because this is my favourite racing shoe at the moment. So this shoe is claimed to be the ultimate long distance racing shoe. It's worn by lots of professionals. We've seen world records go down in this. And in this video I'll go through my honest opinion, my thoughts, and I'll rate different categories out of 10 for you. And I'll also compare these to different super shoes on the market. Pricing. When these were first released they were £220, which is quite steep but not as expensive as the Alpha Flies. They are still £260, £270 for the new green model. If you can get a pair of these in the sale for £140, I would say you're probably not going to get them any cheaper than £130 unless you've got NHS discount. But £150 for these is honestly a steal. You'll be glad you made that investment. If you're in a half marathon at mile 10 or in a marathon at mile 22, you'll be wishing you bought a pair of these. Absolutely great shoe, and definitely good value for money if you get them in the sale. So I'll give them a 9 out of 10 if you can get them at a discounted price. And if you can't get them at a discount and you pay full price, I would say probably 7.5 out of 10. This next category is cushioning, and these shoes have got this Light Strike Pro foam, which is on par with the Zoom X. It's really good, really soft, and it's obviously quite lightweight. You've also got the optimised energy rods in the bottom, and these are almost like the bones in your hands. The rods instead of plates. They do feel really supportive, really chunky. Not too chunky though, like you feel like you're carrying around breeze blocks on your feet. When you're cruising around at sub 5 minute miles they feel great. When you're at 6 minute miles they feel great. So honestly I feel like this shoe is perfect for anyone. The midsole in these is actually quite wide, so they feel more supportive than the Alpha Flies. As you can see they're quite wide there, and there's only a small section in the middle here that's actually quite narrow, and you don't even notice it when you're running. So for cushioning, I would actually give this 9.5 out of 10. So this next section's fit. If we start at the toe, I feel like the front of this shoe, it is quite narrow, but I've never had any issues. I've seen on previous review videos, one guy was complaining that he had a blister. If you want to try them on and maybe go half a size up just in case. But I've never had any problems, and I got true to size in these. The heel on this shoe is the same as the Alpha Fly. They tend to put this padding around the back to support your heel and your Achilles, but then they save weight by not putting padding below that. As I mentioned in the Alpha Fly video, I get quite a lot of problems with my Achilles. I notice a lot of rubbing on my socks, and I've had it before where my socks have actually broke down and the back of the shoes rubbed that much that I've had to stop running because of the pain in my Achilles. I've only done 150 miles in these and they're holding up really well. The padding's perfect in the back. It actually doesn't go all the way back. There's a gap where your Achilles sits in. This cushioning here actually goes around your Achilles, so it's really comfortable. But yeah, I would say these fit true to size and they're really, really comfortable. So on fit, I'm going to go 9 out of 10. So the next section's grip. This shoe really is designed for road running. So on the road, honestly, 10 out of 10 grip, even when it's wet. These Continental rubber soles are absolutely amazing. The only downfall I would say is if you go off the beaten track and go onto trails, they might be a little bit slippery. I've run on the beach in these and I've run on the trails and I haven't found many issues, but I haven't actually raced on the gravel. But at the end of the day, they're made for road running, and really if you're going to run a half marathon to a marathon in these on the road, they're going to be perfect. You're going to have no issues with grip, even in the wet. I think actually they're designed almost like F1 wet tyres. So when they get wet, it actually provides a little bit more grip. So yeah, really good. 8.5 out of 10 for grip. So the next section is lacing and upper material. So we'll talk about the laces first. They've got this lace closure system, which actually pulls your feet in. These little loops, here you can see. It makes your foot feel locked in and they don't go anywhere, which is what I like. There's also a textile upper, which is like a waterproof mesh. That's why I would say these are probably better than the Alpha Flies in bad conditions, because you've got that extra grip on the road and you've got the waterproof mesh. It really does make your foot feel breathable, and also when it's hot, let the air escape. These only come in at 230 grams, which is fairly light. I think this is because all the material's saved. You know, you've got less cushioning in the heel, you've got lots of mesh components, and this all adds to the overall weight. So for the lacing system, I would say 8.5 out of 10, and the same for the upper. Really good quality, and it's probably going to last you at least 400, 500 miles. The next section is colour and looks. I think they're a great colour. Personally, I think they're probably one of the best looking super shoes on the market. I really do like the green colourway, and I think they stand out. I love that colour green and yellow combo on the black. It looks so good. But you have a white pair, you also have a red and a lilac as well. So looks wise, I would say 10 out of 10. Probably the best looking shoe on the market in my opinion. Obviously my opinion's subjective. Some people might think they look silly, too chunky, but that's the way shoes are going these days, and you're not going to find a super shoe that's not chunky. For the cushioning they provide, I love the black with the green with a little hint of yellow running through. Looks great. Yeah, 10 out of 10. So the next section is how they feel. To be honest, they feel quite chunky but really bouncy. and so smooth when you're running at fairly fast paces. So with the Light Strike Pro working in tandem with the Energy rods, honestly they're just absolutely class. This shoe has a 39.5mm heel and a 33mm toe, so the heel drop is 6.5mm, which is probably about right. It's right in the sweet spot between the Vaporfly and the Alphafly. The Vaporfly, some argue, is a little bit too aggressive, and the heel to toe drop's a little bit too much, and the Alphafly is a little bit too less, but it's more of a marathon shoe, so this is right in the middle. I would say 6mm is probably perfect. That's what you want, a little bit of aggression. So how they feel, I would give that a 9 out of 10. So this one's racing. I would say the perfect distance for this shoe is 5k up to even ultra marathons. I would happily run a marathon in these shoes, and I'm going to run a 5k on Thursday in these shoes. Really fast, really smooth, and when you think the professionals in the marathon are going to be running 440s to 450s per mile, so my 5k pace is 450, so if it's good enough for them to run that pace for the marathon, then why is it not good enough for me to run 5k at that pace? I would say you could probably get away with anything from 3k all the way up to a marathon. I probably wouldn't wear them for a mile, but when you're ever going to run a mile that's not on the track, and you wouldn't wear them in the track, you would wear spikes. I've got Dragonflies, which I would probably wear for a mile race anyway. Such a versatile shoe. If you can get a pair for £130, honestly, I would pick them up, because any race situation on the road, you can wear them. These are probably one of the best racing shoes I've ever wore. I recently done a track session where I was running 800s in between 2:22 and 2:18, and it felt so smooth, so good. You're just gliding along the surface, and I never had any problems with my feet or joints or knees, anything. Just really good. So I can't wait to wear them a little bit more. I'll probably do another review video after 300 to 400 miles, see if they've held up quite well and how the grip's looking on the bottom of them. So this next section is comparison to others. I've got the Vaporflies, I've got the Alphaflies, I've got the Hoka Carbon Rocket 2s, and I've got these, and I can honestly say these are the best. You're probably looking at the same price for them all. You can get a pair of these, like I said earlier, in the sale for £140. The heel to toe drop in the Vaporflies is 8mm. The heel to toe drop in these is 6.5, so they're not quite as aggressive as the Vaporflies, which is probably perfect for any distance. You know, 5k all the way up to ultra marathon. You don't want too much aggression, you don't want your foot to be too far forward, because then you land on the ball of your foot. I would say these are on par with the Alphaflies for comfort. They're quite wider as well. They don't feel like there's as much of a gap, whereas I feel like the Alphaflies with the AirPod, when you compress the shoe into the ground, the AirPod takes most of the brunt of it, but I feel like the middle of your foot actually doesn't feel very supported in the Alphafly, whereas in the Adios Pro 3s, you feel like you've got support all the way along the whole length of the shoe. And when you can consider the Alphafly is selling the new colourway, the green, for £280 I think they are now. These are only £220 for a shoe that's slightly better than the Alphafly. I would love to do some treadmill testing, so I might set the treadmill to the same pace and keep swapping trainers to see which one feels the best. I'm pretty sure the Adios Pro 3 is going to feel better. The Hokas are probably better for tempo runs around 6-minute miles. That's what they were designed for. Adios Pro 3s, the top tier shoe for me, then the Alphaflies, then the Vaporflies. Vaporflies only come into their own over a 5k, but I would still probably prefer to choose these Adios Pro 3s over the Vaporflies. I just feel like these rods provide so much propulsion forward. The Light Strike Pro foam feels really good, and don't get us wrong, the Zoom X foam is good, but this Light Strike Pro for me is just slightly better. So the last section is criticism. The only criticism I have really, I have two little slight gripes with this shoe, and the first one is this section on the heel that folds down. I think they've just put it on there so you can get the shoe on easier, but to be honest it just looks a bit weird and it's just kind of hanging there. My only other gripe is I'm not sure how long the grip will last on these. I've done 150 mile in these and they've held up quite well, but especially if you're going to go off-road and not just stick to road running, I'm not sure how they'll hold up with it being so smooth. Don't get us wrong, it's Continental, and I know car tyres are obviously Continental, so we'll see. I'll do another review video in another 150 miles and we'll see how they're holding up. But looking at other YouTube videos and other review videos I've seen, it looks like you're probably going to get about 350 to 400 miles out of a pair of these, which is good value for money really. So when you tot up all the scores, really, this shoe is rated quite high. I'm not being biased here because I've tried lots of super shoes. I've tried on Asics, I've tried on Vaporflies, I've tried on Alphaflies, and these Adidas shoes blew me out of the water. Absolutely great shoe. Honestly, I think going forward, Adidas have made a huge step up with these. Absolutely great, and I'm not surprised a lot of professionals are getting signed and moving over to Adidas. and I can't wait to see what they bring out next, because I don't know how they're going to top these, to be honest. If they put a little bit more tread or a little bit thicker grip on the bottom, done something with that little collar tag on the back of the shoe, then I think you've probably got a perfect shoe here. So yeah, I just want to thank you for watching the video, and if you can like, comment and subscribe and hit the bell notification, because then you get a notification every time I upload a video. I'll catch you in the next one.